Hello everyone and welcome back to Paper Peony. I'm Kimberly Jones and I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up. Today I have for you my third and final sample using the Pansy patch bundle that is retiring on April 30th. You can still purchase it till April 30th. And all the products that I'm using, you can go down to my Stampin' Up website on the link below and shop these products. These products that I'm showing are found in the annual catalog. So you will just go into the annual catalog and find these products. So here is what I have for you. This is using the actual dies and the stamp set, and it is a shelf card. So it folds up, and so you can use it as a display. You can stand it up and have it as a display. And it also, you have a bookmark here for the person who's receiving the card. So if they're a reader, this is a really cool concept. Or you can put a gift card here. Whatever your choice is, you can put there in that little pocket. But it is a little pocket. And then on the back side, I put another piece of designer series paper for you to write your sentiment or message to the recipient. So let's get started. Now this is not a difficult card by any means. There is scoring and cutting involved. And so I'm going to go at a slow pace so you can actually follow along with what I'm doing. I'm bringing in my, my cutting / scoring tool. I recommend that if you do not have our cutting and scoring tool, that you really seriously think about purchasing it, because you can cut and score using the same tool, and it makes this card a lot easier to follow. Okay, so I'm going to set this card aside, and the first thing we're going to do is do all of the folds and cuts. Okay, so I have a 5.5 by 8.5 piece of Starry Night cardstock, and this cardstock color is going away in April. So it's sad to see that it's leaving, but I'm using it for the sake of this card. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take it onto the 8.5 side, okay, and you're going to take this to 2 1/8, and you're going to score, okay, so the score blade is the gray, and you're going to score it just a couple times because this cardstock is so thick. And you're definitely going to want crisp folds on this card for it to do what it needs to do. Okay, so I run it along 2 or 3 different times. And excuse the mess here. This was embossing paste that I did and on a project, and I haven't cleaned it up yet. Okay, so now also I wanted to point out that when you're doing a lot of cutting, you can't really see the numbers on this ruler here. I took a piece of white cardstock and cut like a little strip. And actually this is, it's not cardstock, it is actually running tape, the double-sided tape. And I ran it along here, and that way I can see the numbers because it shows up white. So, and I left the tape on the opposite side. So, good tip to have, that way you can see the numbers when you're cutting. Okay. So that's the 2 1/8 score. Then you're going to flip this to the 5.5 side, okay? And you're going to line this up to the 1 inch on the right side of your cutting channel. So it's 1 inch on this side, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to take the cutting blade. You're going to leave this blade up. You're going to line the cutting blade or the ruler. You're going to take the cutting blade to the 1 inch and then flop this down and lock it in place, okay? And you're going to go from 1 all the way to 5 1/4. Then you're going to slide this off, flip it, and do the exact same thing. So you're going to take it to the 1 inch, and if you left it where it went before, then you can just flop it down, so because it should be at the 5 1/4, and go all the way up to the 1 inch again. Okay, and you're going to be left with these 2 cutting lines, and then of course that 2 1/8 score line that we did before. Okay, so that's where you're going to be at this time. Okay, then you're going to go over to the 1 inch on the long side. move that cutting blade out of the way, and you're going to score in between these two cut lines, okay? Now, on this part right here, you're going to have to eyeball it, okay? But you want the score, you see that score blade, that score line right there? You want to score it in between these two cut lines, okay? So there you go. You have it connected at the 1-inch line, okay? Then you're going to flip this back around. You're going to take it to 2 inches, and then you're going to score, same situation. You're going to go from one cut line to the next, okay? Then you're going to go to 5 1/4, and then you're going to score in between those two cut lines again, okay? And that should be at the very end of your cut lines, okay? So you're left with this score line here, where it's the end of your cut lines. Then you have the score line at the 2-inch, and then one at the 1-inch, okay? Okay, and then after you have those done, then you're going to go back in, and you're going to go to the 4 1/4, okay? And then this time, you're going to take the score blade, and you're going to score at the top and at the bottom of those cut lines. So you're not going to go through the center. You're going to go from the cut line to the top and from the cut line to the bottom, okay, with your score blade. So you're going to take your score blade, and you're going to go up, raise up your ruler so you don't mess up. And then so right there is where you're going to have these little score lines. See, and it did not go through the center. It's just on the top and bottom, okay? And that's all you have as far as the cutting and the scoring goes, okay? So now you're going to want to take your bone folder and make crisp folds to make sure that this is going to work in its favor. Okay, so this one right here, you're going to pinch and make it as sharp as you can. Okay, these little score lines right here, you're going to want to pinch at the 4 1/4 line. Okay, this right here, that 2-inch score line is going to be a valley fold. So you're going to go down with it and then pop this one up. Okay, and then burnish that score line right there. Okay, so now what you're left with is you're left with this kind of fold right here. And what you're going to do is you're going to fold it into itself like so. And then it folds like this, so it's going to fit in a standard envelope for when you send it to whoever's going to receive this card, okay? And then it just folds out like that, okay? So now all we've got to do is decorate this. Okay, so this outside right here is shaped like a C shape, okay? And so what you're going to do is you're going to take a designer series paper or print, and this is cut at 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, okay? So the 4 1/8 is the horizontal line, and then it's 5 3/8. Yes, 5 3/8 on the bottom, okay, or on the side. Okay, so you're going to take it and bring it into your cutting tool. You're going to take the long side, the 5 3/8 side, you're going to line it up to 7/8, and you're going to take your cutting blade and cut all the way to 3 1/8. Okay, so 3 1/8 is where you're going. Okay, then you're going to flip this on the other side, line it up to 7/8, and do the exact same thing. Okay, 3 1/8. Okay, so now you're left with this little flap here. Okay, so now you're just going to connect these two lines and cut out that centerpiece, and you're going to line it to 1 inch. Okay, and then you're going to cut out that center that you've created, and then you're left with the C shape. Okay, so just remember 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Then you're going to line up on the long side at 7/8 and cut down to 3 1/8 on both sides, and then join them by cutting it at 1 inch. Okay, so I did that as a sample. I'm actually using this print, which is another print that goes with this paper, but this is the translucent paper, designer series paper, and it is going away. So this is really pretty paper. In fact, this print also is in that paper. And so if you love it, then now's the time to get it, because it won't be available after April 30th. Okay, so now we're just ready to collage our card. And I'm going to use Tombow glue, gluing these pieces down, because it's going to be a lot easier. Okay, so I'm just going to come in and just make sure my edges have glue on them so that it doesn't fan up, because you have to remember this card is going to have a lot of movement. Okay, so whoever's receiving this is going to be moving it in all different directions, and so you're going to have to make sure that it is glued very well. Okay, so you're just going to put this on here, line it up. You have a couple seconds to get it perfect. Okay, and then just let it dry. Okay, all right, so there is the frame, the outside frame. Okay, now you have this inside panel here, and I cut it to the same size for the back side. Okay, so when you cut these pieces out, there's a lot of pieces. Okay, so what I do is I put the letter B on my Designer Series B side, because this is the A and this is the B. Okay, it's actually the reverse side. Okay, so, but that way you don't get mixed up with what cuts go where. Okay, so these two cuts are 3 1/8 by 3 3/8. Okay, and so you're just going to line these up and glue them down. And I'm going to take my eraser and erase these B's off, so they're not seen once I glue them down. Okay, and I want that light blue because that's where I'm going to put my pansies. Okay, and I'm just going to glue that in there in the center. Just having a little bit of a border around that piece. Okay, like so. Okay, and then same with the back side. This ends up being your message piece if you want a message piece. Now, you don't have to do this piece, but I think it just adds a little bit more. Yeah, it goes this way. Okay. Okay. All right, so now we're going to flip that back over. Okay, so here is our other B panel, okay? And this, I want to say, is 7/8 by 5 3/8. Or no, I'm sorry. It is, good question. Let me look and see. It's 3 3/8 long, and I want to say 15/16 of the length. So 15/16 by 3 3/8. Okay, and that's going to be your inside panel to this side here. So you want to glue that down. And this is sometimes hard once you have it all scored up and bent up and everything else, but you can just eye it and just press it down as you can see fit. And you can always bring your fingers into the inside, and that works well too. Okay. All right, and then this piece here you're going to do is the Designer Series A. Okay, and this is, I want to say 7/8 by 5 3/8. This is your long piece. And you're just going to line this up right here. Okay. And then the last piece is going to be your bookmark side. And the pieces I have for it, this piece here is 2 by 5 3/8. And you're just going to glue this panel down right here on this inside, just to give it some interest. Okay, and then the pocket is 2 inches by 3 inches, and we're going to score it at a 1/2 inch on 2 sides and then the bottom. Okay, so you're going to bring in your score blade, and you're going to go to 1/2 inch, and you're going to score 1/2 inch, then come around and do a 1/2 inch. And then another 1/2 inch on 3 sides of the 4. Okay, and that's going to give you your pocket. And then you're just going to burnish all 3 of those sides. Now, to make it to where it is not bulky, once you get those 3 sides folded and burnished, then you can come in and snip these little corners where they're connected out, and it will take some of that bulk away for if when you put a card or a bookmark in there. Okay, like so. And then now you're ready to, let me cut that down a little bit. Now you're ready to glue this down. So let me burnish this real quick. Okay. And then all you're ready to do is glue and I'm just going to come in and I'm just going to glue that pocket down on the bottom parts like so, and glue that down like that as I get glue on my hands. And see, now it's going to cause that little pocket right there. See how it's got an opening right here? And so when you glue it down on top of your card, you're going to use this C pattern here and put glue there. And then glue it down like that. Okay. Okay, so now you have your pocket done. Okay. So now we're ready to do the bookmark or assemble our pansies. Now I went ahead and did my die cuts on my pansies. But here, as you can see, we have the back pieces, then the top part, and then the butterfly part, that's the base. And then here is your eye to your pansy. Okay, so how I did this is I used pop dots to give that dimension. And okay, here they are. Let me get my pop dots here. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take pop dots and you're going to put them like right there at the point, like so. Okay. Bring them in. And my fingers are sticky because of the mess that I just made with the glue. Okay, and then you're going to line these up. And you're going to put this right here. And then bring this one in. Like so. And that's where you're going to get your pansy look. Let me bring that in a little bit more. Okay, so there's your pansy. And then we're ready to glue down the face fronts of all this. So let me get some of this glue off my hands. Okay. All right, so the next thing is we're going to glue this little outline, being really careful not to go really crazy with your glue, because if you do, then you're going to have lines all over, glue lines all over your pansy. I just kind of touched it just a little bit, just so it would glue down. And then this is that part that I say it's easy, it's better to have it to where you can finagle it a little bit, because you're going to want to position it just so perfect. And play with it. And let me position that better, because I don't like how I've got that. Okay. There we go. Okay, and then we're ready to glue our black piece down. Okay, Okay, and it just goes right there in the center. Now you have like a little circle indentation right there in the center of your die cut, so you'll know exactly where to position this piece. Okay, so now we have the purple pansy done. Now we're able to move on to the white and the Cajun Craze is this orange, and then Daffodil Delight is the yellow part. Okay, so let's do this one, and this one's kind of like the one that we just did. So we're going to put pop dots on the back pieces. Okay, like so. Okay, and then we're going to bring these in one at a time. It's better to do it one at a time because you saw how it was a mess the last time I did it. Okay, and they just kind of sit on top of one another like so. Okay, and then you're going to glue the Cajun Craze down. Now, I did a little something different on this one. I actually outlined the back pieces as well, because if you look at the faces of pansies, they're all different. And that's how I love the fact that you can build on these, because you can make them look however you want them to look. Okay, so come in and do your yellow or your Cajun Craze. Okay, and then you're going to have these other pieces too that just outline the back pieces. And you're just going to curve those around. Like so. And you probably want to do those back pieces before you put the top piece on, because they do actually naturally curve around. Okay, and then the Cajun Craze is the center. And assembling these just comes with practice. The more you assemble these, the better you're going to get at them. Okay, so there's that one. Okay, and then the last one is just your basic white one. And I did blackberry for the centerpiece. And this one's a little simpler because there's no lining involved. So we're just going to bring in those back pieces and just put those on there like so. Okay, and then just glue the center eye down. Like so. Okay, and now we're just ready to put our pansies onto this center piece here. And I went ahead and did all of my die cuts, and it's 3 garden green leaves and 3 granny apple green leaves. So you're going to want to just put these throughout your pansies. So what I did is I glued the Cajun one flat back here on the back. You got to remember that you have these score lines, so you do not want to go over the score lines. Okay, and that's kind of why I didn't pop dot these up either, because I didn't want extra bulk on my card. So we'll put this one right here. Okay, and this one I kind of glued flat as well because I didn't want added bulk, but I put it out here on the back, on the outside of the card. And you're going to want to go up a little bit to where the bottom of the pansy is not hanging down too far. Now you can pop dot some of these leaves. I did do some of them. And on these dies, you do have a top and bottom because one has score lines like that. And so that would be your top piece. So keep that in mind when you are assembling these. Sometimes the indentions go to the top and bottom, but for this one it doesn't. Okay, and then we're going to be doing the same with these as well. And I thought I had 3 Granny Apple, yeah, but it turns out I only have 2, so we'll just make this work. So we'll put that one there. And this one here. And then we'll do the last one right there in the center. You really can't tell when I get these done that I'm missing a leaf. Okay, so there's that one. Okay, and then now let's go ahead, and the only thing left is to put the bling on the centers of these pansies. So we'll save that for last. So now let's do our bookmark. Okay, so our bookmark is basic white, and it measures 1 7/8 by 5 inches, okay? And we're going to stamp our pansy, or actually this is going to be a viola. And what we're going to do is we're going to stamp the viola using the Orchid Oasis. You've seen me do this in a previous video. But what we're going to do is we're just going to come in and we're just going to stamp 3 violas on our bookmark, like so. Like so. All right, and then we're going to come in and outline it just to give it some extra detail. Okay, and then I went ahead and did a little mask with the Post-it note on the viola, and we're going to put it over our flower. Okay, and then we're going to come in and with our Parakeet Party, which happens to be another retiring color, we're going to stamp our leaves for our flowers. Okay, so this is just this solid flower or solid leaf. And let me see. Let me bring in my stamp board. Okay, and then we're just going to come in and stamp these like so. And then you're going to just peel this up and go to the next one. And just keep going all the way till you get all the leaves done on your flowers. If you wanted to go to the extreme of things, you could also have these bookmarks laminated. And then that way, whoever's getting this bookmark, it'll be a little bit more destroy proof. It won't bend or break or tear. Okay, so now we're going to use the outline of the leaf, and we're using Garden Green. And I'm just going to come in and just stamp a little bit of detail on these. It doesn't have to be just perfect, as you can see. Yeah, we don't have to worry about the, well, we'll go ahead and do this one. Okay, and then come in and we can put this on here like so. Okay, and then that gives us our detail on our leaves as well. Okay, so we have those done. Okay, and then the last thing that I did is I just did like a little background and brought in that Cajun Craze color, just because it's not incorporated anywhere else on this card. And so I kind of wanted to bring in that extra color. So I brought in Cajun Craze, and this is not the stamp I used. I can't figure out which one I used. So for the sake of that, we're going to do stamp offs because I don't want a lot of attention going on here. So we're gonna do some stamp offs. Kind of like that right there. So, okay. Okay, and then I use Lemon Lolly and kind of like stamp the centers to these pansies. And I thought I already had this mounted, but apparently I didn't. Okay, so let's go in here and just stamp the centers of these flowers, because I did not put gemstones on the bookmark, because you got to think it's going to be enclosed in a book, and so having stones on there is going to be kind of hard to keep those on there. Okay, so we'll set that aside and let that air dry for a little bit. And while we're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp my sayings that go on this card. One is enjoy today. And these sayings come from the Beach Day stamp set. Sending sunshine your way and enjoy today. So the enjoy today, we're going to stamp in the Starry Night, which is the darker purple. And this again is a discontinued color. So we're just going to come in here and stamp it to make a banner. And then on white, and I believe I had a piece of white here. It fell. Okay. On the white, we're going to stamp the Sending Sunshine Your Way. Okay, like so. Okay, and now all my stamping is done. I can move this mat because I really don't like how the light hits the glass. Okay, so now we're ready to start finishing our card. Okay, so the last thing on this is what I did is I just took some snips and kind of cut off the corners, okay, to make your bookmark. And then you're going to take a hole punch. And on this one, because I did two different ribbons, I went in and did just a standard hole punch because I wanted it to be big enough that both ribbons would go through it. Okay, and then I did the garden green ribbon, and then this Orchid Oasis glimmer ribbon that is going to be discontinued. And so what I did is I took this garden green and doubled it and ran that fold through the hole. Okay, and then you're going to take the tails of these ribbons and run it through that loop, like so, and then tighten it. And that's how you have your tail. Okay, and then just cut that off to make it a little shorter. Okay, just like that. Okay, and then you're going to bring in this Orchid Oasis as your secondary color. And what you can do is you can either run it through the hole or you can run it through the knot. For the sake of the video, I'm just going to run it through the hole. And I did a really long ribbon for this. Okay. And then just make it however big of a bow that you want. And I'm going to come in quite a bit because I don't want it to be that big. And then you're just going to cut off the tails like so. Okay, and then you have your bookmark. And then it's ready to go into the pocket. Okay. All right, so now I have this piece of Starry Night scrap that I did to kind of add some emphasis on the pocket. And all I did is I just glued it flat down. I want to say this is 1 by 1.5. Okay, and then on this one here, you can just eyeball this. You're going to make a banner using your letter as your center point to do your center cut. And you can see that that's kind of a little bit off. So I'm just going to go in here and trim that down. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you want it perfect, you can use your paper trimmer to make straight edges. Okay, I'm just going to glue that down right there to kind of put some emphasis right there on that pocket. Okay, and then the Sending Sunshine Your Way that we stamped earlier, I just went in and cut into the words because I didn't have a lot of room to put it. Okay, and I did use a pop dot on this one. So I did pop dot the saying on this part. So you're just going to pop dot that right there. Okay, and then the last thing that we're going to do on this card is we're going to add our bling to our pansies. And I did our basic jewels, and I'm using the bigger ones because there's a big circle in the center. And I'm going to come in with that dark Daffodil Delight blends and color 3 of these. And then come in with my tool pick or pick tool and just take them off of the page and put them in the center of my pansies. The putty on this end makes it easy to move these where they need to go. And there you have it. There is your shelf card. And whoever tends to get this will display it and pop it up and possibly use your bookmark or your gift card, whichever you decide. So I hope you enjoy this fold. It's very simple, even though it looks more complicated. And I hope you give it a try. I will try and put the measurements into the description so you can know the measurements of all these pieces that are cut. And I hope you give this a try. So until next time, I will see you on the next video and have a great day. Bye-bye.